topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask Good Questions podcast, broadcasting live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. This week and every week, we will reach for a higher purpose in money and life, as well as a focus on health and wellness. Now, let's join your host, Benita Bell-Andersen, as together we start with Asking Good Questions.
Hello and welcome to Asking Good Questions. This week we are doing part 2 of optimizing your Social Security. We are going to be talking about how you coordinate Social Security with the rest of your retirement assets. Now, if you didn't get a chance to see the first part of this, it was last week, and you can go back and find the part 1 of optimizing your Social Security. But for now, let's get going. And I am going to start sharing some screens. So here we are, just a little bit on me. And since I am fairly new to podcasting, I am a snowbird. I'm in the western part of the United States. I'm a financial advisor. I'm an author. I'm a podcaster. I'm a fiduciary and an investor coach. Because of grandchildren, I have an office in Washington State, and the great state of Washington that is in the Pacific Northwest. And then in the winters, we are in St. George, Utah, which is high desert, red rock, beautiful country. So if you need more information about me, you can find that on the website called AskGoodQuestionsPodcast.com. All right. So optimizing your Social Security, what should you do? So you know what you should do. So this discussion, as I said, started last week. Today, we're going to discuss how you coordinate this government benefit program with the rest of what you have saved your whole life, right? So just before we get started, because I'm a financial advisor, got a little disclosure. You got to remember that I am not, these are my opinions. This is an educational program, and it's not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Administration or any federal government agency. It's hypothetical with the big picture ideas to educate you. I am licensed through a firm called 10CAP, and so all of that information is here if you need to look any of that up. All right? So we're going to continue this discussion. Reserve your content unique to your situation for your complimentary strategy session on Zoom that I provide. That link and other downloads for course materials can be found on the website, AskGoodQuestionsPodcast.com. All right. So just realize that I am offering that if you want to get some questions answered. So how in the heck do you put all of this together? What should you do to make sure that you are doing the right thing for yourself? So look at this question. How long do you need to plan for retirement? Right? Well, this is out of Wharton. Wharton has done a lot of studies and data. If you are male and you're healthy at 65, you have a 25% chance of living beyond 92 years old. Now, no surprise, if you're female, you have a 50% chance of living beyond 89 and a 25% chance of living beyond 94. Well, what if you're a couple and you're both healthy at age 65? So 50% chance of at least one of you living past 92. And are you thinking now of some people that maybe you've seen in the news or that you know? There's a 25% chance that at least one of you is going to live beyond 97. And get this, there's a 1 in 10 chance that at least one of you is going to live beyond 100. We all know. We have seen so-and-so's having their 100th birthday. That is happening more and more and more. And the sobering thing about these statistics and this data is that we need to plan for a relatively long, now it should be exciting period of your life. Okay. What I see though, and what the data shows, is that way too many people cut this benefit short and take it early before their full retirement age, which for most of you is probably 67. This is a super common and very expensive mistake, and I'm going to show you why you do not want to penalize yourself. You want to give yourself what's called delayed credits. So I'm going to give you some good examples why you should do that. Now, one of the things that we do when you do your call with, well, if we get past that call and decide to work together and decide to get some things going, we'll do an analysis of what are the choices, what are the best choices for you. So this is just a slide of something that can analyze your particular situation and give you the data for what is the most intelligent way for you to approach Social Security. Okay. And another thing that is going to be very in front of you is going to be that most of the time you're going to be paying taxes on probably 85% of your Social Security benefit. Now, I'm sure you, and you and me and all the rest of us, have heard that they may be thinking about taking taxes out of being, having to pay taxes on Social Security benefits. That would be great if they can figure out how to do that in a correct way. But right now, don't plan on it. Plan on having to pay taxes on your Social Security benefit. Okay, let's talk a little bit. We went into this a little bit last week. Let's talk about the future of Social Security and kind of what's going on there. This is not a 401k. This is not an IRA. It's an insurance program. And current wage earners out there who are being, having a little bit of Social Security, a little bit of Medicare taken out of their paycheck, they are supporting those who are receiving benefits in retirement right now. That is the truth of the situation. Some more truth about this whole thing is that after 2020, the Treasury started to redeem the assets that are in their trust fund savings accounts to pay for the expenditures over the tax income and interest income. So that is something that has been coming for a long time, and they're predicting in about 10 years that trust fund savings account is going to be completely gone. That doesn't mean, hear me, that does not mean Social Security is going away. It means that the level of current wage earners who are putting money into the system would be enough to pay 79% of current benefits. We don't know what that means. We don't know if it means people coming up. We don't know if it means people that are already on Social Security, which are 66 million people. We don't know what that means yet. So just realize that the Social Security trustees report keeps telling us that the total depletion of the savings accounts is going to happen. And then the tax income will be able to cover about 79% through 2089. Let's hope that they get their act together and that they find some fixes. Now, I believe there are some ways that they can rectify this situation. They could continue dramatically, I think they need to raise payroll taxes on high income workers, meaning right now it's at 168,000 in income. I think it's going to like 174, something like that. And they should probably just make the top like 250,000 so that everyone who's receiving an earned income out there just continues to put into the system. I believe another thing that could possibly happen would be that they would raise the retirement age. Most people out there contemplating Social Security are looking at age 67 as their full retirement age. I'm betting that that might be something they look at, is to raise the retirement age. And then, of course, they have formulas for how much they figure on how much they're going to pay you. So revising the formula for future benefits is also very much on the table. So here's my financial disclosure statement. It's my opinion that adjustments will be made, as Social Security has a really good chance of remaining solvent for many generations to come. I sincerely hope that that is very true, because many, many, many people are depending on it, right? Okay, so let's talk about, we're talking today about optimizing income. Well, there's some dangers. You could, if you don't optimize your Social Security income, you could spend down your IRA too fast. Taxes have to be withheld on all IRA withdrawals, and more of your Social Security benefit could become taxable. You know, those are all things that could happen. So we're going to use Bob and Mary. So he's 63 right now, she's 60. We're going to assume the Social Security benefits grow at a cost of living adjustment of 1.5% per year. This next year, it's 2.5%. That changes every single year. Let's say that this couple would love an annual pre-tax income goal of $100,000 a year. And they have saved and saved and saved their whole life. They have $750,000 in investable IRA assets that they hope will earn 6%. That is available for them to also use for income. So we're going to explore how a shortfall in income can be filled. All right. So now remember, this is just an example. I'm not saying this is exactly how it would happen. I'm trying to just enlighten you on some ideas on some of the things to consider. So one of the things to consider is that, you know, people will say, well, by taking payments early, you start receiving benefits sooner, but it is at a reduced rate. Well, the other side will say, well, if I delay, my monthly benefit amount will increase up until age 70. But the longer you wait, the fewer monthly checks you're going to get. Well, that's why we have that analyzer program, because we can analyze with your data input into the system. We can analyze exactly what's the best thing for you. But using the information that you know about your health, your family history, we can help you determine the right time for you to file in order to optimize your benefit based on what you expect. Obviously, we don't know what the future will bring, but we can set up some likely scenarios as well as how you envision your retirement to go, right? So let's say that Bob starts receiving benefits at age 63 at about $1,880 a month. Let's say Mary starts receiving benefits at age 62 at $1,308. But look what happens if Bob waits 7 years. He gets those delayed credits and he starts receiving benefits at age 70. Well, that then is $3,493 a month. That is a huge, huge difference. Maybe Mary only waits a year and she starts receiving benefits at age 63 or $1,424 a month. Now, I get it. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes you have to start But if you can work longer, if you can get a really good idea of what is right for you, then you can maximize and optimize what you're going to do with this thing. So now remember, this is just an example. So scenario A is if they file early, so they have much smaller Social Security benefits. So if they want $100,000 a year, what does that mean? They have to take a lot more out of their IRA, which means they're going to pay more taxes, and the IRA could be spent down more rapidly. And you're going to pay 100% all distributions from the normally. Okay, this is the blanket, usual. Most of the time, you're going to have to pay taxes on whatever you take out of the IRA. Now, remember that you're going to pay, let's say that you're going to pay 85% of your Social Security benefit in taxes. You're going to pay less in taxes if you optimize your Social Security and have a larger Social Security payment between the two of you and a smaller IRA distribution. So, obviously we don't know exactly, but this is, the worst case scenario of what could happen. You could, if you had a distressful, not intelligent way of doing your investing in the stock market, you could lose a lot of value in your IRA, and you could spend it down more than what you would really like. So scenario B, you wouldn't have to take as much out. And so these are some things to just really think about. So just to look at this in another way, you can see scenario A and how much of Social Security you're having to pay taxes on. And there's a potential loss of $58,000 in this scenario if you take more money out of your IRA than what you really needed to if you would have maximized your Social Security. So the thing is, you're trying for $100,000 in income. So if she has $18,000 and he has $41,000, then you're 60% of your $100,000 is coming from Social Security, as opposed to the other way around. So this doesn't tell you anything other than just to educate you about a hypothetical that may or may not apply to you. But that's why I want you to consider this, is because if you can maximize what you're doing, you can avoid losing value in your IRA, you can avoid paying too much in taxes, and you can do this if you optimize your Social Security benefits. So that was just a hypothetical, but let's dig in a little bit deeper. What are the things that we think we need to look at? What is it you need to consider when you're retiring? How do you coordinate your Social Security with the rest of your retirement assets like pensions and IRAs? What is the number one fear most retirees have? You've got to deal with this Medicare thing too. You've got to have health insurance. What does it mean, accumulation phase and distribution phase? What's that all about? How do my emotions play in when I'm retiring? What are the rules for investing? And what might be an optimal way to think about coordinating assets? And if I was going to give myself a 5-step plan, what would that be? What would those 5 steps be for planning your retirement income streams? Okay. So what I'm trying to get at with you is, what difference would it make in your life if you could optimize both your Social Security benefit and the rest of your income? What difference would it make? Well, here's the things to consider: your retirement goals, your age, your budget, your pension options, your current health, your family health history. What are the factors that might impact your longevity, your needs, your budget? What retirement assets do you have now? Do you have a large 401k or a large IRA? How long would it last? Do you have a Roth? You've got to, what I'm going to be trying to, what I'm going to, teach the very tippy top of is considering an academically engineered way of looking at how to do investing. So here's the challenges to creating retirement income: life expectancy, inadequate savings, inflation, taxation, uncertainty in the markets, rising healthcare costs, unrealistic expectations, bad advice. But the number one fear of retirees, what do you think? It's running out of money in retirement. That is the number one thing. And remember that data I showed you about how long we're going to live? Well, it's something to think about. Well, not only that, you got this thing called Medicare coming at you like a freight train. You have to do something about Medicare at age 65. And the Medicare system is a huge system. I hope you're not, but if you are already receiving Social Security, you are automatically enrolled, and you're going to get your Medicare card in the mail 3 months before your 65th birthday. Or if you were disabled, your 25th month of disability. But hopefully, I pray that you are delaying your Social Security benefits. Then you're going to want to enroll in Medicare through the Social Security office sometime the 3 months before your birthday or the 3 months after your birthday. In most cases, you will automatically get Part A, which is basically hospitals, and Part B, starting the first day of the month you turn 65. Now, Part B is basically, think Dr. B. It's the doctors. If you still have group insurance, then you're going to get Part A, but you're not going to get full Medicare until you stop your group health insurance. If you happen to be a baby on the first day of the month, then your coverage starts the first day of the month prior to your birthday. All right. But it's something that you have to deal with. So if you hopefully are delaying your Social Security benefit, then you're going to pay your Part B premium, which right now I'm going to say it's basically $175. Could be more. You will be paying your Part B premium directly out of your checking account, right? They will pull that premium every month. And Medicare, and that money will go to Medicare. And then when you stop your group health insurance, if you have that, you're going to have to choose between something called Original Medicare and a Med Sup plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you have a Medicare agent, and I don't think it's going to be a problem for you to find them. They are everywhere during the enrollment period, which is in October through to the beginning of December. But please realize that you are going to have to interact with this. And then when you do start your Social Security, your Part B premium is going to be taken directly out of your Social Security payment. But we have a lot of baby boomers who are reaching Social Security age. And there's a lot that are living in communities that are 55 plus communities. And many, many, many are having healthier lives later. They're not sitting around in rocking chairs. They're out playing golf. They're out there playing pickleball. And so let's really think about how Social Security payments fit in with the rest of those retirement assets. Now, I'm going to show this to you again because I want you to think about this. You're going to, you have a good chance of reaching your 90th birthday for sure. If you're a guy, if you're healthy at 65, women, you might reach 95. And if you're a couple, there's a good chance that both of you might be around. Now, the thing is, you're going to want to have health is your first wealth, right? So yes, I'm a financial advisor, but boy, am I interested in health and wellness issues, which those will be regularly addressed on this podcast as well. But that chance of a couple living into their 90s and having one of them at least live beyond 100, you've got to have money to be able to take care of your needs, right? And if you're like me, I love my girls, I love my family, but I don't want them to have to be worrying about me. I want to be self-sufficient. And I think a lot of other people are there with me. Well, let's talk about the two distinct phases of your financial life. You didn't maybe know that you had two distinct phases. One, you have been doing your whole life. It's called accumulation. And then you are moving into the distribution phase. Well, what in the heck is the accumulation phase? Well, you've had family, most likely, in some way, shape, or form. You've been saving, or you've been told to save, and you've had growth in a lot, not only your waistline, but savings accounts, and you've had ups and downs, but you have been accumulating pretty much your whole life. Well, what happens when you say, I'm going to retire and I'm going to do something different? Well, now you're going, I need enough income to enjoy my life. And you say, I don't want to lose it. I don't have time to go through like a market correction. I want it to be protected, but I still want it to grow. I don't want to waste taxes. I don't want to pay too much in taxes. So you want it to be efficient. And most people are going to say, I want to leave something to my kids. I want to leave something in my will for them. So what's the best way to do that? Well, there's something else that gets on top of this, and that's your emotions. There's a whole field called behavioral finance. And how do your emotions get in the way of smart retirement income planning? Sometimes people just emotionally make decisions that are not in their best interest. Usually all you're thinking about is just trying to get the best return. But there really could be hidden emotional desires running the bus, right? So how you view money, and this is something that if you get my book, you'll see that your future and your dreams hang in the balance with how you view money. Your retirement as well could depend on whether you're able to protect yourself from misinformation. Most of us need money to realize our dreams. It's not the only thing, but it sure helps when we want to take a trip. We need to do all we can to take care of ourselves. And those government benefit checks are a nice bonus, aren't they? And you have to make a plan to protect and accumulate wealth for yourself and secondarily for your family. So who do you believe? What advisor out there can you trust? Well, hopefully I can help you with some of those. I'm going to show you some of my ideas now. I am not a big fan of stock picking, and I call them the purveyors of investing programs and newsletters. Sometimes they're called prognosticators and gurus, but they're the people who tell you what's going to happen with the economy, with the market, with GDP. They say they can predict things like which market sectors are going to be good, what economic information will move the market, or when the market is going to crash or when it's going to go up. So newsflash, nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring. You ask those people that were on those planes that crashed into the World Trade Center, and nobody knew what was going to happen that day, right? So I'm not a big fan of prognosticators and gurus. If they say they can guarantee you blah, 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 run, 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 run. So I want to give you another fun little example. There's a lot more mutual funds out there than there are stocks. So I have a question for you. If any mutual fund really knew who was going to be the best fund manager, how many mutual funds would they need? Well, I would say they needed only one, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands of funds trying to figure out what the best combination is. Now, this is, so you can see there's a lot more funds than there is stocks. And so to me, that just shows me that they keep trying to find different ways to figure out what's going to be the magic bullet for a mutual fund. Basically, what I'm going to be teaching you today is a wide, diversified approach to basically buy the entire market. So here's another interesting little slide. So it shows that Korea has the most funds. The US is number 4 in this chart, but it just shows you that worldwide, we have a propensity for putting together mutual funds to try to figure out what's going to be the best thing to do tomorrow. So what would you say? What would the perfect investment look like? If you were thinking about this, well, here might be some of the things that you would look at. Oh, it would never lose any money, right? Never lose any money. It'd have guaranteed income for life. Oh, wouldn't that be sweet? It would be 100% liquid. If you needed money, you could get into it, and with no surrender charges, it'd be fantastic. It would have double-digit returns. Wouldn't that be sweet? And it would be tax efficient. Oh my gosh, that would be the best. So you would have protection, it would be liquid, and you'd have growth. Well, guess what? It doesn't exist. There isn't one thing out there that can do all those things. If you don't have any risk, you also usually don't have much interest. If you have a lot of risk, you have a potential for a lot of interest, but you can also lose a lot. So couple that with this behavior finance thing I was talking to you about. We can think some pretty crazy things. And in most cases, the investor doesn't know what they don't know, right? Think about that. We don't know what we don't know. Oh boy, is that a worry? You have perceptions, you have instincts, you have your cognitive functioning, and then you have your emotions. And sometimes emotions gets in the way, and we do things that are not in our best interest. Here's another way to look at this. You need to think about 3 different buckets, all right? Let's call these buckets. So A is the liquid emergency fund money, like checking accounts, savings, money markets. They don't give you much interest, but they're liquid, and if you need money, then you can go to those. Now, B is where Social Security fits. It's more like a guaranteed income that comes from insurance, from life insurance, from annuities, and that's the sort of thing where life insurance and Social Security benefits fit. Now, C is 401ks, stocks and bonds. You can have a lot of gain, but you can have a lot of loss as well. So A is your emergency. It's liquid, and it provides you protection, but not much growth. B is like your Social Security benefit. There's protection there, but not a lot of growth. And a lot of times surrender charges. If you're in an annuity or some kind of insurance program, you're going to have surrender charges if you try to get your money out. C, you do not have guaranteed growth. You have the potential for growth, but it could be risky. And especially when you're going into retirement, you don't want that. And it's also something that you usually try not to put your hands on. You try to leave it alone so it can grow. So let's talk about some rules. So that middle bucket, the green money rules for guaranteed or protected income that's like Social Security and annuities. Number one, it does protect your principal. Yes, it does. Number two, it can protect your gains. There's no volatility up or down, but a lot of times those out there that tell you that also don't give you the other side of the story with cap rates and other things that might not be such a good thing for you, but it does protect your gains and protects you from downside volatility. And it does protect your income, but there's not much growth, but that might be okay depending on your risk tolerance. Now that red bucket, the stock market portfolio, there are ways to do a successful investment account. And here's my rules for that. Don't try to pick stocks. We don't know what's going up or down tomorrow. Don't try to time the market, right? Same thing. And that guru, he had a great run last year. He doesn't know what the future is going to hold any more than anybody else. So you can tell I'm not a fan of something called active management. I instead urge you to consider and learn about something, having an account that can be a globally diversified, buying the whole market type of thing, structured investing. It's an idea that we teach to all of our clients. So here's a term that I'm going to introduce you to, free market portfolio theory. And that is the synthesis of several academic principles formulated by, I'll call them academics, who have won Nobel Prizes in economics for these methods: efficient market hypothesis, modern portfolio theory, the three-factor model. Those are all things that we get into in a lot of detail when we're really actually working with somebody. But together, these concepts form a powerful, disciplined, and diversified approach. There isn't any stock picking involved. We're basically buying the market, as Harry Markowitz said. The result is a globally diversified portfolio that includes thousands of equity or stocks and thousands of fixed income or bonds. Those are called holdings, spread across lots and lots of countries, not just the United States. And it's designed and engineered to capture market rates of return over specific time horizons. So this is not something that the typical person can accomplish. It is truly a disciplined, diversified approach that usually takes a team to accomplish. So do you know what the questions are when you're asking about something like this? Do you know the questions when it comes to how to invest? Well, you know the name of my podcast, and the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of your questions. So questions like, how does markets work? How do you measure volatility and risk? How do you measure the quality of a fixed income instrument? How do you build an investment portfolio? How do you rebalance a portfolio? How in the heck is that advisor paid? How do you diversify? It kind of goes on and on, things like that, right? So this is what hangs in the balance. The bottom line is you're going to want adequate income for your retirement. And that income is typically going to come from Social Security, your retirement savings, maybe a pension. You're going to want protection and growth. You're going to want tax efficiency. And in a lot of cases, you're going to want to leave some kind of legacy for your family. So we don't know what's going to happen, do we? we don't have a crystal ball. But so we use the best data for accomplishing this, buying this whole globally diversified approach. So this is kind of a fun thing to look at. Remember me talking to you about behavior finance, and when the market's going up, you can have thrills and optimism, and then when the market tanks, panic. Well, my goal is to keep you from having that kind of craziness, because we've seen it in the past, haven't we? And, when you think about that, you don't know what's coming. We don't know when markets are going to cycle. The biggest fear you might have now is saying, I'm going into retirement. I can't stomach a market cycle of, a bear market and having a major bear market happen. And so you don't want to have to worry about that. So it's critical that you get educated on what is the right thing for you to do, right? So here's our buckets again. Now remember, A is the emergency money. It's liquid, doesn't get much interest, but it's liquid, checking, savings, money markets. B, the B bucket is where Social Security lives. It's where insurance products live. It's where annuities live. And then C is the stock market. And that's where you have the potential for growth. And it's more the stocks and the bonds and the mutual funds. They're all appropriate to have. It just is, what do you need to do to make it, worth your while? Here's 5 steps to plan your portfolio and a satisfying lifetime income stream. So step 1, determine your Social Security benefits and when to take that. Determine how much you want liquid. That means that emergency funds. Figure out what that is. Decide what percent you need in your investments, that C bucket. That's going to leave your protected or annuity type income, like your Social Security benefit, and any pension income. All right. So you're going to combine your Social Security benefits, any pensions, and a smart engineered investment account will give you a diversified approach to retirement income. So we can help you. If it's not us, please find a good, trusted advisor that you can work with. All right. So why should you learn about doing this? Well, in our case, we're a real investor coach. That's what we do. We really do help people with an income plan. We recommend an allocation plan that makes sense and works for you for your situation and your life. And we do answer along the way needs, goals, desires, pension option questions, wills, trusts, and estate planning. And you know what? You've got to think about long-term care for the future. And then those health insurance and Medicare questions, right? So in closing, retirement can be difficult, but it can also be an exciting time of life. Can you afford to worry about making a mistake? Find a financial professional that can assist you with experience and a proven track record. We do offer that complimentary consultation with our team to have a discussion about your personal situation. You're going to find downloads and the link to schedule that at the website at askgoodquestionspodcast.com. So good job on thinking about asking good questions. Be prepared to optimize your Social Security and your retirement income by being educated on the subject and taking positive action. Thank you so much for attending. Next week, we're going to be talking about cybersecurity and identity theft. That's actually going to be on Christmas. It's every Wednesday. This podcast is every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we so hope that this was a useful way of giving you some things to think about. And we appreciate you attending. Thank you so much for being here.
Today's episode is over, but we did ask good questions again, didn't we? Don't miss out as we broadcast live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. Join Benita Bell-Andersen next week for more conversations with experts on finances, retirement, behavioral finance issues, health and wellness, and more. Until then, remember to ask good questions.